Sure what to expect is in the bottom right. I read Protoss player from Team Liquid is MaNa.
Ooh. That one had a nice bit of twang in it. In the northwest position, we have the blue Zerg player. He is Denver.
Yeah, it's one of those ones where I really hate predicting results for it, but what I do know about these two and their play styles is that MaNa, he really likes to play kind of like just what's in meta right now, and that's Stargate, and I think we'll see a good bit of that. And then Denver plays a very different style of Zerg usually, where he always liked kind of playing Roach Hydra even when it was out of fashion, and sometimes even the Lurkers, and that's obviously now almost a bit more in fashion, that's almost in meta. So to me, Denver, I think, might try and make a bid towards Lurkers if the game lets him go there. Just a little bit of what to expect between these two, and especially on a map like Romanticide, big enough for a lot of those longer games to take place.
Yeah. Well, and you say that, and I'm like, Roach Hydra is a bit, it's here and there, right? It's one of those compositions that doesn't really have enough, I feel like it doesn't have enough speed to cover its weaknesses, like Lingbane Hydra kind of did, if you wanted to go Lurkers. But at the same time, I'm like, if you can get to the Lurker phase, then I suppose, you know, you feel free to make your omelet whichever way you prefer, because that's the unit that puts the fear into the heart of the Protoss players. But at the same time, I love that you mentioned MaNa and Stargates, because I'm really hoping that we see some cool Stargate play out of him. I think some of the most fun matches that we've had for these DreamHack tournaments the last couple months since the Void Ray patch was seeing stuff like that. And I know that MaNa has actually brought stuff out like that out when he got into those big finals against Serral, for example. You know, it's units that he's comfortable controlling. He's good with them, and the Stargate boots up. So that is his way of through the ether, since he doesn't hear us. We can't communicate with him, but he's still letting us know that he knows what's up.
Yeah, he knows what's up for sure. But I'm with it as well, right? I like this Stargate. I think it's the safe way to play against someone like Denver, who isn't afraid to be super aggressive early either, right? You know, if Denver doesn't play for that longer game, then maybe expect like a 56 drone or a 66 drone all in off 3 bases, because that's just Denver. But those are the sort of things that Stargate helps so much against, right? It gives you a good, strong setup at home. It lets you put a bit of harassment damage down. And if something does come out early that you need to deal with, the Stargate's a fantastic choice too. He's going to go Void Race. He's going to be extremely safe against pretty much anything that hits him in the first 5 minutes. And we'll see where he goes from there. We have seen plenty of players going multiple Stargates, multiple Void Rays. We'll see if MaNa wants to be one of those guys.
Yeah, I'm so happy. Reverse jinx, 40. We willed it into happening. The Void Ray, everything is all rolling together. And Denver, with that position of the first expansion being taken in that spot, I'm going to be honest with you, regardless of whatever reason it gets taken, because of being blocked or because you're feeling frisky, it does allow you to spread the creep out towards the north half of the map a bit easier, especially because you can go across where those minerals are. You're not really blocked in the same way as, you know, if you were trying to build something on the other side of it. You have to go all the way around, but the creep will spread through. So the Void Ray will clear this Overlord out, but Denver should have a pretty good amount of creep spread to do whatever he wants to do with, should increase the amount of map vision that he has, since the pocketed natural can really only go out towards that third or to the middle of the map naturally. But the position that he's in gives him the opportunity to get that coverage at a really nice time. And when you see the Void Ray early on, obviously that lets you know, yeah, there's a Stargate, but it also says he didn't rush an Oracle. So the pressure to have had like super fast Spore Crawlers or all of your Queens together is also really not that big of a deal.
I love this Stargate into Glaives. I like to call it Starglaves, Nate, and it's fun.
Oh, Starglaive. But when do they come out with Starglaves too? You know what I'm saying?
I know. I trust me. I thought this as well. I made a theme tune and everything. It's the greatest build. But I love this. That is the perfect stasis. What? Everything, Nate. Everything.
Yeah, actually, it's worse than that. Wow.
No, they actually don't get a talk. They're just
they don't even. It's not even slow motion. They're literally frozen.
That income graph. Wow.
That's why, one of the things us casters have begged for our whole careers. That's why we wanted it. The resources gathered tab. We never got it, but there is an impact to things like that. Even if the workers don't die, ladies and gentlemen, you still need them doing their jabs. They got to do their gerbs. Oh, the Lings kind of come out and catch the Adepts. Blaves is not ready, but there's too many Adepts. So that was a bit of a call an ambulance, but not for me situation on the part of the Adepts getting caught, quote unquote.
Yeah, double robo on the way up behind us. MaNa is not super committed or anything. He's not like, oh my god, I gotta kill some drones. He's ready to transition. He's ready to play a longer game. Stasis Sword trying to catch. I mean, takes the Ling attention for a few moments. Now the Adept shade in. You're going to see quite a few of these Lings going down. Starting to see some drone kills. I like the couple of Adepts that peel away to target fire down drones. Now we're going to shade again toward the third base this time around. And there's not really any defense here. A few Lings. So he's just going to ignore them. This is going to target down a drone after drone. MaNa getting some really good, serious damage done early. With that double robo follow-up, he's going to be very safe. Could even turn it into some more aggression.
Yeah, so 13 drones killed. We're at 53 probes. The third Nexus is done. Very important to note that. We are on 3 base versus 3 base. So with the worker kills there and a little bit of extra stasis shenaniganery and quite a late Spire, if we're being honest. I like this position for MaNa quite a bit. He's already got several Immortals out. The Queens are gonna tell the Void Ray to step off, but the Void Ray can actually pressure any of the Roaches that are just out on the map, so they have to run all the way across and bleed out or stay at home. And this is really nice because with double Immortal production, and he already has 2 finished, 4 Immortals versus insert literally any number of Roaches here. Well, that's always going to be tough on the part of the Zerg. I don't see a world where this really does a whole lot unless MaNa goes AFK. Yeah, no, goodbye, Roaches. You had a good run. Not really, but yeah.
No, this is they had a good run across the map. Like they got here.
Void Rays are funny like that. Yeah. Fun fact, Void Rays, as long as the unit is moving in front of them that they don't have to turn, they will stay locked on and keep shooting while moving and chasing, and their range increases to 8 while they're attacking. It's only while the beam is active, so it's hard to get away from the Void Rays sometimes because of that, especially without speed or creep. A couple of Lings do get into the natural, though, and that's a pretty nice pickup. 3 probes at minimum will die. Does some cute micro to try to save the rest of them, and I think it's going to end up capping at 4, so not the end of the world, but this Void Ray's trying to poke to distract for this big attack in the northeast. And he needs to do a lot of damage because mutas are about to pop.
Yeah, exactly. Mutas are about to pop, but I guess you're going to straight up kill a hatchery to begin with, and that means you can... Maybe you can just leave already. Stalker's going to warp in. The mutas are going to dive bomb onto the warp prism. Not enough damage there yet. Now Stalkers are here. And
oh my god. Don't try and do this with the warp-ins?
I mean, I guess so. I'm not convinced about it right now, but if he gets another one, I think the Guardian Shield needs to go on the prism. Okay, that was just too late.
Yeah. Recall
now
the
you need to think
Immortals.
about recalling.
Gotta at least recall the Immortals. Losing any of the Immortals here would be a huge mistake. I don't mind leaving the Zealots behind. Let those guys fight. I didn't hate warping in a few Stalkers in case it wasn't a lot of mutas. But look at the reaction. Oh my god. 5 drones, excuse me, with that stasis is really good. But he's already got the cannons in production now. We have the 2 Stargates halfway done to be added to this. We have another Phoenix that's been added. So MaNa just needs to just buy time. He needs to slow down the game just a little bit. Once the 3 Stargates are ready, we know Phoenix absolutely clap Mutalisks nonstop, no problemo. Especially if he ever gets a fleet beacon, although I don't know that we're necessarily in that territory quite yet.
Well, we do have the Immortals taking a bit of a couple of shots, but obviously with the Phoenix getting here, I think we're going to be okay. The fact MaNa's built 2 more Stargates is so good for him because now Denver is still making Mutalisks, right? And the fact that MaNa can just pump out 3 Phoenix at a time, like, yeah, let's go. Like, it's one of those funny things where it's like, if you just build, like, if you just try and get by with the bare minimum, this is the perfect play from Denver. But now that MaNa is hard committing against it, this is like the really bad play from Denver. Like, he needs something else right now.
Yeah. That's the tricky part, especially because those Immortals are still alive. Like, you can't just say, oh, I'm gonna force them to build a bunch of Phoenix and then kill him with Mass Ravager or Mass Roach. Ling, just flood him on the ground. That's not really gonna work because he's still got 6 Immortals. So unless you kill those guys somehow, he's actually still safe against the ground assault. And now he's setting himself up. He's alley-ooping to himself with the fleet beacon to say, well, I can just go big air now because you have invested so much into Mutalisks. There isn't really a path out of this carved out yet. And look at that, another mega stasis on the 3rd base. MaNa
Man.
has really been on top of his everything this map, it feels like.
Jeez, this Oracle's been so... I can't believe this Oracle's still alive while Mita's out because it's caused so much chaos already. You'd have thought MaNa would have put something up there to just go and deny it. As we go into Anion Pulse Crystals, we're going to be seeing those Phoenix get in the range, and that's when the Mitas are basically going to become, well, even more useless than what they've already been, because they've been pretty useless, right? They've really not been that effective. Denver has taken as a chance to keep MaNa back and now take his way into Hydras. But it's really just like Ling Hydra, you know, with a Baneling Nest only just starting, but that's still, what, a minute and a half until we're talking about Baneling speed? So, nice Ling counter at least gets a cancel on the 4th.
That's a good way to do it, right? Because the Immortals won't be like amazing against the Lings. So you're going to kind of force more gas to get dumped into Archons or a big mineral dump into the Zealots. But I do like everything once this upgrade finishes and Anion Pulse Crystals is done. So that's the range upgrade for the Phoenix. So now they can really mess with the Mutas. You got to get a 4th. That's the most important thing, right? We've already had denied once. There it is again. There's just too many Lings to actually clear them out in time. Like, if you're a Zerg player maxed out with 2,000 minerals in the bank, you don't really care if you lose 20 Lings. If you get the kill in the 4th for the Protoss while you're on 5 bases, you are a happy Zerg, regardless. Like, there's not really too much at this stage in the game that a 3-base toss is going to do that can just outright win. They need to secure more economy. This is where Denver carves that out, because taking a head-to-head fight against this force right now, it's still not really going to be that good of an idea until he can get everything else together with like the Baneling speed, Hydralisk upgrades, etc.
I'm impressed that Denver's made it so close.
He doesn't have Hydra range, by the way. He just got speed. He never started range. He doesn't even have, it's not even researching. So
he's going to show back up down here, but as soon as these Phoenix get on the Hydra, on the meters this time, these meters are going to die. And this is where Denver's supply is being kind of deceiving, right? Because he basically has 30 supply of meters that are destined to die, and then the rest of what he has isn't exactly super expensive. There is a fight breaking out top left. We should probably look at that because it's going to determine how this is going to continue. The Immortals will just not die. Like, the entire army here for MaNa is basically tech units. So, holding on, but there's 27 Hydras in production, and if they get gathered up, I can see him cleaning this out, perhaps.
Yeah, but it's still so hard, though, for them to actually engage because they don't have the range upgrade. They have less range than the Stalkers and the Immortals, which means they have to walk into a place where more of the units can hit them more easily because they have to get closer to shoot. And stuff like that adds up over a long period of time. Let's not forget, of course, that also makes it easier for the Phoenix to engage, and they absolutely rack and quack these guys. Great focus on the Warp Prism. If anything buys Denver a way out of this one, it's definitely that, because now that the Immortals have been killed, suddenly this ground army isn't quite as scary as it was before. Not that they do bonus damage to the Hydralisks, just, you know, that they're chunky, and we talked about that range thing. Now, how do you keep this 4th base alive? It is going to be more than difficult, I think, Wardy, if he tries to push it, but it doesn't look like he's going to attack just yet.
Yeah, he's going to back away, which he probably doesn't realize how much he could do there. High Templar are finally starting to build up some energy for some storms. It's something that MaNa got into that should help him a lot against the army that Denver is playing, that he's just not being able to do much with yet. Phoenix lifts on Banes, don't mind that. I mean, any one less Bane that you have to deal with here is probably a good thing as well, and obviously just knowing about it is fantastic too. As Denver is just coming around the top side with these Hydras, though. So this is where you need those storms, and this is where Denver's army can still die very quickly if the storms are good.
Yeah, this arc, this angle, Baneling's going to push everything out of the 3rd mineral line down towards this position. There's no creep, and Hydralisks on their own are a little bit flimsy, but I think just too much of the army was cleaned up prior. The 4th Nexus is definitely going to die. The probes do get hit by those Banelings, being forced to bounce between the expansions, and what looked like such a promising start to this game for MaNa has crumbled and collapsed into a victory for Denver. Wow. Really good focus on denying the economy, right?
Yeah. 4th base didn't come up for so long. So while I say these meters weren't great, actually, they did do their job, right? While it might not have been directly killing like 30 probes or whatever meters usually do, it was meters that really stopped you from moving out as MaNa. MaNa didn't get an answer for a long time. And then Denver was able to afford so many Hydras. I'm genuinely impressed because MaNa killed that hatchery on the 3rd, Nate. Like, when that happens... is the game really meant to go on like that? Not really.
Oh, there were some things that went well, but I'm not 100% sure about the way that he wanted to move those units out, I guess. That was the hard thing. That was the hardest thing about it, because he had that big attack happen. Like, he moved everything out while he was dealing with the mutas, but you kind of need everything to be together in that situation. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like he kind of had the same vibe that we did, that he was in a good place. Things were rolling his way, and he just decided that now he wanted to end the game. And somehow, some way, even despite not having upgrades for the Hydralisks, enough of them came out because he took those left side bases. Maybe MaNa didn't even know about those. Like, he was on 5 bases defending that attack from a 3-base Protoss. So even if he is cost ineffective, he's got 2 more mining bases worth of income to just flood out a torrential downpour of Hydralisks.
It's a tough one, right? I don't know. I kind of look at it and I kind of feel as though it's like there's a lot of I don't know. I don't know what I want to say really. It has. I'm trying to think through the game.
No, it was a close game where basically a single mistake, really, with the way that he moved out there, kind of cost him it, because he had a good army, he had everything going his way, but he needed to secure his 4th base more than he needed to push with everything. Right? You want to send a couple zealots to the top. You want to send a couple zealots around the left side while the immortals stay back and protect the building nexus. Like, I think that's where maybe he is able to cement the lead.
I didn't even mind the fight. It was just like he didn't have then anything at home to deal with the incoming Hydras. Like, he got stormed, but then he never morphed in High Temple until it was too late, right? That was when he was maybe too committed to that attack. Yeah, no, I'm with you. It was all around that attack, because I just think up until that point, MaNa was still looking fine. It was still playable, but he needed to do certain things there, and he did not. And now we go into game number 2. Denver leading 1-0, but it was not easy, Nate. It's not easy.
Absolutely not. And I don't think that it's time to count out our Protoss player either, because still showed a lot of really good promise in that first game. Let's see, though, if our Zergy boy in the top left representing Team Cap can bring it to a 2-0 conclusion. He is Denver.
Down in the bottom right, looking to fight back, it's Team Liquid's MaNa.
All right, well, there's the probe. I love to be annoying probe. Gonna delay that base and force him to take the hatch somewhere that isn't the normal place to do so, as the group standings get pulled up on our feed. Denver has been building quite the tale for himself in this DreamHack Masters, second only to Raynor. And I mean, at that point, honestly, you're pretty much first place in the group, because Raynor is he exists on a different plane of reality. I feel like even being put on a list with everybody else here might just be disrespectful to him. Between you and me, Morty.
What's really cool is if that Denver goes 6-0 today and Raynor beats Bly and goes 6-0 as well, we actually have a fight over first place in the final match of Group A. That's pretty cool, right? Because Raynor would have to play Denver like last series.
Yeah, that does give us probably the coolest potential storyline. Although I don't want to say I view Raynor and Cyril as being head and shoulders still above everybody else by a large margin. So I'm like, as cool as that is, I'm like, yeah, I'm still not. I'm not going to be expecting anything wild in that outcome.
No, I'm not expecting anything wild. I just thought it'd be a fun way to end Group A. Hey, that Geralt Showdown match.
True.
Oh, that Geralt Showdown match, sorry. 1-0 for Geralt. That's good for Geralt. We know how close it is in the middle of this group as well, as we just saw in the standings. So, big match, big PvP going on right there on the B stream.
Hell yeah. Geralt's so awesome. And been very fun watching his progress throughout DreamHack Masters. I like that we can at least say that we've seen some clear improvement from quite a few players over the course of the year, with Denver here being absolutely no exception to that. A stellar result in this group, regardless of what happens from this point onward, and looking like he might be able to walk away from this one unscathed as well. So this probe's going to be dealt with. We see that MaNa is going to get a Stargate once more. And this is, I mean, that's the warm, comfortable, safe blanket, right, for the Protoss players, right? If it's a cold winter night, you want to feel comfy and cozy on the couch, you grab the Stargate, because it's going to keep you safe. It's not going to guarantee anything wild, but it is going to, at the very least, give you some opportunities to attack and defend without too much trouble.
Yeah, no, I said it last game. I'll say it again. I think it's the perfect way for MaNa to set up against someone like Denver. I don't think he's the sort of player you want to try a Twilight Council on if you don't necessarily need to. Honestly, I really liked MaNa's build last game as he gets the OV. I love the Stargate into Glaives, and that aggression really gave him a good position to play from. Just what's got to be so tough now is MaNa's like, man, I used a good build, and he probably doesn't fall for that twice, and I've got to come up with another way to get ahead.
Yeah, there's a lot of work to be done. A lot of work to be done. As I think it's still kind of crazy to me that Denver, even without the upgrades to the Hydras, was still so comfortable with the way that he macroed up and powered up to get that defense going. And even that, really nice grab, especially because, as you pointed out, we had those Adepts on the first map. So if MaNa wanted to do anything Adept related, now he's been set back by a large percentage, right? Like, you only had 2 Adepts. Losing one of your first 2 early on, that hurts. So as he goes up to Adept number 3, you're like, okay, well, now I have to time the shots perfectly to one-shot anything if I were to just send these 2 in. So if I only wanted to build 3 max, now that number becomes 4 to do the same amount of whatever he wanted to do in the first place. And a Twilight Robo follow-up. So still not really anything big committed out of him either, because he only built just these 2 Oracles. No Void Ray, no Phoenix. So this seems like a bit more of a vanilla Protoss versus Zerg opening.
Yep. Uncle's going to go diving into that natural as a few drones start to go down, getting some good damage. 4 workers killed. Not a bad start at all. And he gets, obviously, 1 Oracle goes low, but both alive still. Nice little setup for MaNa there, and bringing the worker count down to even as he gets his 3rd base started.
That's the biggest part, right? What you just said right there. Bringing the worker count to even if it's just for a brief moment in time. Zerg is all about the inertia, right? Once it starts getting rolling and it becomes so massive, stopping it is almost impossible. And even if the Zerg still moves forward, if you can just slow down the pace at which they're growing, that alone can be enough so that whenever you go for like the big attack, you can get the work done. So the damaged Oracle gets put in the back, trying to do some pretty good unit positional control to prevent himself from losing either Oracle, and he does not lose them. So just comes in, scouts, gets to see the lair, pokes a bit on that queen, and nothing really crazy ends up happening. But we do have the Roach Horn in the Evo chamber, but no Spire or Roach Speed started by Denver yet either. So we're not really sure what his game plan is just yet. He's just droning.
Yep, he is just droning away. Melee upgrades, so we got to know that it's going to be a little bit Ling Bane focused, right? So Ling Bane, Ravager, lots of aggression there, potential to swap into Hydras later on as well, and then you maybe see Lurkers. That's something we've seen a whole bunch of. And MaNa's style is just to go into charge and Immortals and obviously Archons, and that's the way we're going to play this out. So a bit more kind of like older school. He cancelled melee, Nate. He went cancelled melee, he went missiles.
Yeah, see, that's just
has
strange.
to be Roach Hydra, right?
Yeah, it's just roaches at the moment, but yeah, it kind of has to be. What still puzzles me though is he's getting all these roaches. He's getting these upgrades for the roaches. He has a lair and hasn't started roach speed. Should he have started roach speed by now? Am I just like crazy on this? Like, is it normal to delay roach speed this much when you're doing this type of build?
Well, I guess if you want to wait for +1 missiles, it doesn't matter because roach speed is faster than +1 missiles, right? But it should start like now to be like in sync. So yeah, hopefully he doesn't just assume it's going on. At the end of the day, like if you can't afford it earlier, which you could have done, you may as well start it earlier, right? It's still going to benefit you maybe. So yeah, I'm with you. I feel like that's a mistake more so than potentially syncing it up. Ouch.
Now charge is finishing up. So this for MaNa does look a lot more like your typical PvZ setup. Go for the Oracles into the Archon drop. He's getting the Immortals behind it. And on Death Aura, it's not too hard to lock that 3rd base that he took down and then go into a slightly quicker 4th if he wants to play big late game or just with more units. I do think that was one of the critical errors made in the first map, was just probably getting a bit ahead of himself and not realizing that Denver had taken like 2 extra bases. He wasn't just on that 3rd that he was pushing, or even just the 4th. He already had a 5th by the time he was attacking that. So I'd like to see MaNa try to hold that map control, keep the map vision and not get caught off guard. It is just 4 bases from Denver this time instead of that 5 trying to take a 6th. So I don't feel as bad about him moving this out, but Roach speed's only just started, Wardy. Am I focusing too much on this, or is not being able to micro your units like not a problem? Does Zerg's not care if they can't micro their stuff anymore? Like, did I miss the memo?
No, I'm pretty sure
Creep
that's
that good? Damn, even I didn't think it was that good.
Yeah, and I think that's a pretty big mistake, Nate. Yeah, it obviously just slipped through the cracks a little bit, but at the moment, doesn't seem like it's going to come into effect. You know, now he starts melee upgrades, and there was a Hydra Den on the way. It's finished. I feel like Denver doesn't know what he wants to do. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, he's like, he knows he wants to get a coffee, but he's standing in line and he's looking at all the food items, right, through the glasses. And he's like, I just don't know what I want. I don't know if I want a croissant. I don't know if I want a bagel. And he's sitting there trying to figure it out while everybody else is like, come on, man, just make your order. And he's moving out without roach speed, which I also find terrifying. It's going to finish soon, so the meme is coming to an end on that. But it's still one of those things that's like, you know, you're limiting a lot of what you can do by not getting these types of upgrades very early on. Like, if he had gotten force fielded here, those roaches would all be dead.
Yep. Yeah, I mean,
even still, actually, the engagement starts without speed, and a bunch of the roaches do get caught by the force fields. Now he can kite a little bit against the zealots, but he bled out a lot of his tanky units in doing so.
Yeah, I kind of thought like maybe this was going to be okay because he's going to hit before Storm, but then actually you just don't even need Storm to deal with this as MaNa, so...
Yeah, the army can't jump on you.
Yeah.
It's a slow army.
Yep, no, it's pretty okay right now. As we can see, MaNa's actually maybe going to make a way around and maybe get a bit of a surround here. Storm's still not done. He's going to unload those few High Templar. But here we come from the top side, so you kind of get to flank in on this, and you get some good damage from the Archons getting in range. MaNa gets quite a few kills off that.
Yeah, those watching those Archons shoot into clumps of roaches is a top five experience for me. I love Archons, Wardy. My favorite unit in this game. When they shoot, it is beautiful. He's gonna try and chase him with the prism too. He has Templar in there. Obviously, if he could storm these Ravagers down, they're very expensive.
Yeah, at 100 gas a pop, and they don't have the most HP either, especially, you know, they're already low, so... And I mean, you still got this army kind of caught here. The question is just can you properly catch it? Can you properly stop it from going the other way again? You don't want to spend your entire game just running after this group of units, but you don't really want to let them live. He's going to let them live as he comes to the right side, and he maybe tries to fight against this force that Denver's now amassed. Down on the bottom, Bane speed is now not done for another few seconds, and as we get into this speedy zone, a couple forces come down.
The Banelings kind of got choked up in the rest of the units as they were lagging behind them, so they don't really connect with the army. The storms land on everything.
Yeah.
And, well, you take away 30-40% of the health of these roaches, and the immortals are going to laugh their way to the bank. He does have just one immortal holding the door at the naturals, warping in pylons behind it. Good save by MaNa. It sucks to lose the immortal, but hey, at least that unit did its job of keeping those workers safe in an intense scenario where there didn't seem like there was much else there that could have done anything about it. So we have just more roaches being added at the moment, but he's getting a spire, he's getting a hive. What do you add to this? Do you just try to go lurkers or brood lords, or is he just gonna do this for upgrades? I don't know.
I don't really know. You know, because like maybe you try and go lurkers, but then there's no lurker den on the way down, right? So there's not that. And then there's a spire completing, but I don't know if broodlords are ever really the answer nowadays. And then even Vipers, I kind of look at this army, I'm like, Vipers? Yeah, I honestly have been kind of confused about what Denver's been up to this entire game. And even, like, I don't even know if I'm confused what he's doing right now. I just don't think there's a good choice for him, really, because he's kind of just stuck on a bad army, and whatever he builds is not exactly great. Like, you go Broods, there's already a star getting a fleet peeking up, you know? There's an easy answer for MaNa.
Oh yeah, his army just got chunked by this super Archon that he had off the overcharged shield battery. And by the way, these two oracles, I'm just gonna say shout out to the real ones out here. These two oracles, despite everything we could have said in the start of the game, and I mean anything, however good or bad they could have been, they have been instrumental in helping with these defensives that MaNa's been executing. They have killed so many units because this army is just, it's what you said it was, Wardy. It's just kind of a low tech. He's been massing, throwing these cheap units at him, and especially without Hydralisks, you don't have anything that can kill these oracles. Every time the fight is forced, they can at least guarantee some damage.
The only thing I was getting a little worried about is maybe MaNa is just not quite able to keep up with how much Zerg is coming his way, but
He might still get overwhelmed here. This
Yeah.
northeast base, like he's overextending a bit on pushing the units out of his base, and then he gets surrounded again. Like he gives up the choke point, and then he gets hit again. Look at all those zealots clumping into the Bane lanes, and now I'm like, okay, well, all those Banes have detonated on 2 or 3 zealots. The rest of them could have maybe tried to help defend this, but now there's just nothing. He has to warp in more. By that point, the Nexus is dead, and Denver secured an expansion in the northeast. He's feeling pretty good as far as the cash money flow goes. Does the carrier that's about to pop while the other one's halfway done, do I think that's going to kill all of this instantly? No. So there's still quite a bit of pressure because once again, MaNa's stuck on 3 bases.
You could argue that MaNa just went carriers too soon. You know?
I think so.
Like, you're meant to go carriers when you feel safe. I don't think you ever meant to feel safe against Denver. He's still massive units at you. Oh no. Pro Massacre.
Ouch.
Oh, these
My
games
bones.
have been... I feel like MaNa's
Brutal.
going to come out of these games being like, what just happened? Because I don't really know what just happened.